So let's go ahead and get into this, and fair warning to anyone watching on the stream that isn't interested in hearing me talk about any type of political messages, and also to anybody who might be watching this if and when I do upload this as a recorded bit onto YouTube and the like. So, about a week from now, WWE is going to be holding a pay-per-view event titled Crown Jewel. This is going to be the second pay-per-view held in Saudi Arabia for WWE this year. The previous one was the Greatest Royal Rumble that took place shortly after WrestleMania, as many of you might recall. WWE got a lot of flack for holding that pay-per-view as it was, particularly in regards to Saudi Arabia's, shall we say, less than stellar track record with human rights, and particularly with women's rights in particular. It looked like a very contrasting message that WWE was sending in hosting a pay-per-view in that country while pushing their own women's performers in what's been known as the women's evolution. Particularly because they weren't able to have the ladies perform at that pay-per-view or this one, hence why also this weekend they're going to be holding the day before the first ever women's only pay-per-view event called Evolution. I believe it's taking place at the revamped Nassau Coliseum up there in the New York area. So it's going to be, so there's already a lot of controversy surrounding it as well. And then, as a number of you are probably aware, there was an incident recently in Saudi Arabia where an American journalist was killed under very dubious circumstances. There are a lot of conflicting stories, to put it mildly, as to what exactly the circumstances were that's led to this individual's death. I'm having trouble keeping up with it myself, especially because I've actually been trying to not get obsessed with current events as much as possible recently. But because of that incident, and already the history of Saudi Arabia's history, there's been a large number of, the online wrestling community in particular, that WWE should just outright cancel this event. There was talks that they might be secretly planning to move this thing to the UK. Not sure if or where that's going to happen. I believe the last episode of Raw, there was little to no mention of where the event was going to be taking place. I believe I heard somewhere that if they were to cancel it, it would costing WWE somewhere in the range of $16 million. Of course, everyone's saying that that's a price they just need to pay for human decency's sake. I'm not going to say that I like the idea of WWE holding shows in a place like Saudi Arabia. I don't like it. I'm very disappointed that it's happening. Talking now with Charles Thomas of the DukeCT Lounge now. Here, welcome to the show once again.
Well, thank you very much. And this has been a very interesting topic I want to talk about here.
Yeah, for those that way, I might start this again. We are talking about the fact that WWE is about to host its second pay-per-view event of the year in the country of Saudi Arabia. A week from today, I think it is, a week of this live stream right now, titled Crown Jewel. There's been a lot of controversy surrounding a lot of cries by people, especially among the online wrestling community, to just outright cancel this event in the wake of that very unfortunate incident where an American journalist was killed in that country under circumstances that's still confusing for me to even understand and whatnot. Like I said, look. I know how often I can come off as a WWE apologist, a Vince McMahon apologist. But, like, first off and foremost, I'm saying, look, I don't like the idea of them being in this country, going to this country to perform one way or the other. But as far as just the outrage towards the demand that they've got to cancel this event no matter what the cost, there's just some issues I've got regarding at least just the visceral demands from the other side. I'll bring that up in a minute, but I'd love to get your take on this first and foremost, Duke.
Well, honestly, as someone who watched Greatest Royal Rumble and looked at the deal, I thought again maybe this was a positive. As something as again, this is a prince that wanted to press some ideas and such. I mean, he recently did try to get women to drive. They could actually drive, do all these things that we don't think about as revolutionary, but in that part of the world, it is. And he did probably got a lot of pushback, but that's probably why, in some cases he did probably took out some of the people in the royal family, pretty much the same way he allegedly did to this reporter, which, by the way, this is I'm not really again surprised because this is how this is well, it's sad, but it's how they do things down there, and it does. The press they don't really like to have any people, they don't want press in the mind or anything else. They see him as an enemy. And not only that, it is the Saudi Arabia, which we could all go against WWE for making this deal, but the United States government and other businesses have been dealing with Saudi Arabia for decades now.
And that's basically that's kind of basically what I was about to get into myself. There's basically two areas I want to bring up first. First and foremost is the fact that people are solely jumping on WWE and the McMahon family for making this deal. My response to that is, again, I don't like the fact that they would make a deal like this. Like I said, they're getting like $16 to $20 million for this deal. They're supposed to have some kind of 10-year deal in the works with them. Here's my thing. If you're going to try and tell me that an organization like Ring of Honor, which I believe is owned by Sinclair Media. Sinclair Media owns either Ring of Honor or Impact. I can't remember which one exactly.
They own Ring of Honor. Yeah, they own Sinclair Ring of Honor.
You talk about Ring of Honor owned by Sinclair Media, the NWA, which is owned by Billy Corgan, who at best claims to be a libertarian, but has shown very right-wing tendencies himself. Or even a group like whoever owns NJPW. If you were to tell me any those organizations would not say yes to being offered $20 million to host a show in the country of Saudi Arabia, look, to put it mildly, you're incredibly naive.
This is, by the way, the thing is, if they do pull out, that is a ton of money from W. It's because again they have a windfall of I think they have at least per show like $15 million per show there. At least I'm looking for this stuff. And the thing is that they do supposedly if they because again the whole contract, everything that's worth, it's around like $450 to $500 million because it is a part of the 10-year Vision 2030 plan in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. If they do pull out the entire deal and cancel the 10-year deal, which UFC has, by the way, UFC has canceled their deal with Saudi Arabia since of such, and they're going to eat that cost. WWE can't really do that right now. They say, what about Fox? And I'm like, yeah, but that deal, heck, the Disney deal is not really 100% solved with Fox. Because, again, China, EU, they can block that thing down and shut that down entirely, and we're back to square one. And well, that thing can go away as well because they that then you have another issue there. But if this is like again, if the WWE does pull this stuff out, they this is going to be a huge blow to them. But I understand, like I said personally they should just not do this show because again everything or at least postpone it because it is just everything going on right now. I think they should postpone the show, but I don't think at long term canceling the deals and such, I don't think that's really going to be a positive because again, if you want to talk about globally, all you're doing is isolating stuff. And trust me, isolation, unless I would say if you want to isolate Saudi Arabia, then go full. I said on my podcast, and I say here, have the United States cut off entirely. The government, you can't buy any weapons from us. You can't do anything else. We are basically ice out. That's what you should do.
That's the next part I was going to get into. Listen, the two issues I have just with people who are trying to play the morality card here and say that WWE in particular needs to just cancel this, at least this pay-per-view altogether. The two problems I have with this is, one, you can't tell me any other wrestling organization wouldn't jump at an opportunity if they were offered. So don't try to tell me that the people, this is an example of the other people running other wrestling promotions out there are a bunch of patriotic angels that would never do something like this. The second part is, you've more or less alluded to this already. The United States of America has been playing games, playing deals with Saudi Arabia, aiding in their propaganda for 4 decades. I mean, we sold them weapons in the 70s. This is a completely bipartisan effort. At least 3 Democratic presidential administrations at this time have cut deals with Saudi Arabia. I'll just say this. I'm going to be flat out and blatant at this. If you drive a car in this country, in the United States of America at least, you're contributing to the Saudi government because your car is being run. If there's a number of different countries that we import oil from, but almost certainly at some point in time, your car has been driven by Saudi-produced oil. And that's the thing is that you look at something like, people are saying, yeah, WWE needs to take the $16 million, if not, $400 million loss on just getting rid of Saudi Arabia altogether. But if first thing tomorrow morning, we were to completely sever our ties with the Saudi Arabia, all Saudi Arabia trade agreements whatsoever, you think people are going to be, those same people who are trying to play the morality card against WWE, they're going to be happy paying twice as much for gasoline tomorrow morning? Yeah, no. This is what, look, people know that I can be a very liberal-minded, socially active person on my social media accounts. I try to keep it under wraps and closed off within these entertainment shows for the most part. This is a situation where I can't avoid really talking about it right now. But my issue with this just seems to be an example of there are, let's just say, certain people, and certain people that I like. They're good friends of mine. I really do like them. I'm not going to name names. People are either friends of mine or people that I respect as fellow internet producers and whatnot. But I think there's some people that they're more than willing to protest and show outrage when it's convenient to them. When it's easy for them to stand up and say, WWE needs to take whatever loss they must to make a stand for human rights against Saudi Arabia. But are these people going to be willing to make their own personal sacrifices, which if you were to do, as you said, and just go full out and sever all ties with this nation right now, no more trade agreements, no more deals, we completely alienate from them first thing tomorrow? Would they be willing to pay the price they're going to have to do at the pump at minimum? As that, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what sacrifice. That's the one thing. That's the keyword, sacrifice. And what are people going to sacrifice? Because again, if you sacrifice people's convenience, they will be shooken up because the same people who on Capitol Hill and all the senators and everything else will be banging hard like, we need to get outside. If they did that, they'll be out in their butts. And heck, this is the election and midterms that's going on here, and I hope everyone's going to go vote and all that good stuff. But if you do, that people who are outside looking in and such will be saying, "Oh, well, the people in Congress acted too rash, out of base. We shouldn't have cut off this salary. We need them to. We need to be a more a tactful thing and more thing. AKA, we need our oil and such. So that sort of thing, and they look like heroes. But that's neither here or there. But with WE, like I said, postpone. But they should postpone the show. But this thing right here about talking about this stuff, about how this reporter who is dead because of this whole situation, it is a worry. And here's my thing about it: if things get worse, and I want to ask you this question, as I didn't get, I forgot pretty much to ask this my stuff, is that what happens if WE superstars say, you know what? I will not do this. They will take and not go. And because the rumors had there's some people on Superstars who are just saying they don't want to go and be a part of it. And my thing is, what happens if, say, a big star like a Roman Reigns says, I won't go, and puts his foot down? Would Vince fire him? He is booked for the show, but I think a triple threat for the Universal title. Will he just strip the title? Would he get fired? Would he be suspended? That's going to be if are the WWE superstars going to make that sacrifice? Because if they because they are building up the set, even though they're building the set for Crown Jewel right now as we speak at the arena that's going to be that's going to happen in Saudi Arabia. If this show goes on, what happens if WWE wrestlers who are booked on the show basically are making a hardline stand and say they won't go? Are they going to get fired or what? I wonder about that. That's going to be something we have to look into. Because, again, with wrestling it is right now, you never know, man. Some people might pick up and leave.
It's one way or the other, it's very unfortunate that we have to have politics get mixed into our entertainment aspects like professional wrestling, because this is where, like I said, I try to put on this live stream. I try to put on TV trash as some way to helpfully escape those types of harsh realities. So when those harsh realities end up getting forcibly mixed into our entertainment, it just kind of makes the whole world even more difficult to deal with, unfortunately.